Hey, welcome back. Man, here's a question for you. Have you thanked a vet today? Well, good news for you. We have a vet to thank today for sure. My name is Vin Dacquino. Our guest today is John Fratangelo. Excellent author, excellent friend.
Thank you.
John.
Thank you, Vinny, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man,
Thank you.
what a pleasure. I watched this book grow, man.
Yeah.
And it grew, and it's a powerful book. It's about your experiences in Vietnam. It's about losing somebody you really cared about.
Right.
John, tell me a little bit about this new book that you've just written.
Okay, yeah, it's basically about a lot about Vietnam. It really started out when my cousin Tony, okay, he was the one who I centralized the book on. Because
you guys grew up together.
We grew up, oh yeah. He came from Italy when he was 6 years old.
Wow.
And we were like this, always together. We were never, ever apart. I mean, when he moved out of my house, they went on their own. He came back. He lived on the weekends, on the holidays, Christmas vacation, summer vacation. We're always together, and we grew up together. And because I never had a brother, and he was like having a brother, you know. But naturally, when he turned 19 at that time, there was no lottery. He turned 19. We got our letter in the mail, and we were off.
Just says you're going to Vietnam, period.
Yes, yeah.
There's no choice.
Nope. Unless you were fortunate not to go to Vietnam, but most of us went.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah.
And you both received letters about the same time?
Yeah, actually, he got his 1 month before me.
Wow.
He got his in. I got mine in October. He had gotten his, and.
Did it really throw you off when he got it?
No, not really, because we were listening to radio, and they always, talk
like,
about.
That's where I need to go.
Not really, no. It wasn't like that.
No?
No, we didn't want to go, but we kept listening to it, and listening to it, and listening. We
was
knew we were
scary.
going to go. We knew we were going to go.
Yeah.
It's not that we wanted to go, but we had no choice. Those
Right.
guys had no choice.
And you were 19 years old?
Yeah, as soon as we turned 19.
Wow.
Well, he turned 19 in February, and he got his in September.
Wow.
I turned 19 in September. I got mine in October.
Wow.
So I didn't expect it So.
Were you together at all there?
No. We corresponded through letters, because he was with the 25th Infantry Division, and I was with the 1st Infantry Division, and we write letters, to each other, and we were planning to do R&R together, but it never happened.
Yeah.
So.
How long was he there?
He was there. He got there in October. No, I'm sorry. Drafted in October. He got there in April, because I got there in May, and he was there April, May, June. He got killed in July 26th.
Wow. So he wasn't there very long.
No. But I had to bring him home.
Oh.
They got me.
I know it's painful, John, but tell me about that. How did you end up bringing him home?
Well, I didn't even know it. I was going. They had in Vietnam. I guess in any battle, any war zone, when a soldier is killed, there's a personal escort that brings him home. Okay, so they chose me, and I didn't know. I was in the jungle.
Did they realize he was your cousin?
Yeah, well, I didn't know that.
Oh,
okay,
they knew it.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I had a few cousins in there, and then they had told me that I was chosen for an escort to take a soldier home. And at the time, I said, "Wow, I'm going to chance to get home," because my first wife at the time was 5 months pregnant. So I said, "Oh, give me a chance to go home." See. But when they flew me out of the jungle, and this is what the book is really based upon. I mean, what inspired me to write it is that night when they flew me out, and I had to go see the captain. Some captain, he had a piece of paper, right, and he had a name on it. And I was in the tent, just me and him. And I walked over. He said, "Do you know?" And he turned the paper around, and it was my cousin Anthony Vitagliano, right? I said, "Yeah, that's my cousin." So that night, I was in the barracks, and actually there was only 2 other guys there. Everybody was out in the boonies. But at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't sleep. I kept on thinking about him and me when we grew up together. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, these other 2 guys that were sleeping. And it's very dark. There's just a couple of little dim lights on the outside of the doors, and I hear these footsteps outside the barracks. And it's all screened in. I couldn't see. It was dark, and there's a soldier standing there, and the screen door just swung open, and he's standing there, and the light's behind him, so I really couldn't see him. It was dark. He had a cap on, dressed in khakis, and he starts walking in, and he walks towards me, and now I'm leaning up in the bed. I had just my underwear on, just under the sheet.
Yeah.
I'm leaning up in the bed, and I know he's coming right at me. Right, so I still erect till he got close, and then when he stood at the foot of my bed, and I looked up and I said, "Tony," I knew it was. I didn't question it. I said,
Yeah.
"Tony," and he just smiled, didn't say a word, didn't say one word. He smiled at me, stretched out his hand. I shook his hand. He turned around, walked out. The door swung shut, and he just vanished. And
this was
that
like the
true.
night before you were going to escort him?
Yeah, this is the night I found out about him.
That night.
He was already killed. This was so. So then I had to go back, and they flew me back, and I had to get all my stuff together and come back to the States. I didn't meet him, the body, until I got to Philadelphia. So anyway, and that was a big deal. I mean, a hard time. It was
yeah.
because he was the firstborn of my aunt, and
Yeah.
it was
I mean,
rough.
I have to say, I question that. Why would you send his cousin with him, someone who grew up with him?
I really think my sister had a lot to do with it, because I think she called up and said, "Look, he's
requested.
Yes, my cousin's there. Let him come in." Right. But that's why I'm saying I titled the book "The Last Goodbye," because when he came in, I figured he couldn't leave this world without coming to say goodbye.
Yeah, I hear you. I do hear that.
But another reason I'm focusing on the book is for all the Vietnam, any veteran, right? I want them to let people know what they went through. See, nobody knows.
No.
Nobody knows what a combat vet goes through.
No.
Okay, it's horrible.
Yep.
Okay? It's I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you're digging ditches 24 hours a day. Combat is the hardest job you can ever think about.
And it's not only the combat, John. My son was a Marine, and he was a real good-looking Marine.
Right.
As a result, they had him as a pallbearer for all of these soldiers. And he was one after another at these funerals. Right. And now, when he tells me about it, he tells me how devastating it was, because he met the wives and the children, and he saw the people mourning, and he would have to do, it wasn't one, he was one after another.
Right.
And after a while, he went in and said, "Look, I can't do this anymore." And they said, okay. They understood. But it's not easy.
It's not easy, no.
Death is never easy, but when it's that close.
Right, yeah. When I met that body in Philadelphia on the train depot.
How hard.
Yeah, it was hard. There was three caskets there. Okay, it was late at night. Nobody was on the train set when I went there. But I got to know the porter, okay? And he, when I rode with him in the train after we loaded the caskets on, and he told me, he said, "John," he said, "you won't believe how many of these caskets come through here every day."
Oh my God.
All right? So it's just, don't forget, you're talking over 58,000 GIs got killed. You know what I mean? And almost 400,000 wounded and maimed. You know what I mean?
And you were in the heart of battle more than once.
Oh yeah. It was every day there. It's just, and it's not only the. You don't get up in the morning, you're fighting every single day. It's not like that. You know what I mean?
But when it comes, it hurts.
Oh yeah. But the whole thing is, it's the other things that it's a 24-hour, 24/7. Man. You're either digging in ditches, you're fighting the rain, you're fighting the bugs. Forget about the bugs; unbelievable. I mean, the bugs there. You think of cockroaches? I see bugs. I see bugs this big over there, chopped in half. It's unbelievable. But and the conditions, and you're out. Like I was in a recon platoon, so we were only a handful of guys. So we go out here at night, only 8 of us, 6 of us, and we dumped in, and it's raining all night long. And you can't even hear nothing. And anybody can come up and slit your throat. You wouldn't even know it. You know what I mean? Because the rain's coming down. You can't hear. You can't see. You can't see a hand in front of your face.
There's a song. Someone sent me a song online by a group called Celtic Thunder. And it was about the war, World War I. And it was about 1915. If you remember, they called a truce on Christmas Day. And the song is about these soldiers singing about that day and hearing a German voice singing Silent Night. I must have played that song 100 times
Right.
to try to understand the pain that has to go through a person when they know that they're involved in death and that they're fighting for their lives.
Yes. I mean,
And there's the fear that at any moment, maybe your last moment.
that's right.
And John, I know you carry that for a lifetime. It's not something you easily forget.
Yeah, especially like the first day of an operation, my very first day, not in country, but on an operation. Okay, they were bombing all night long. Recon goes first. Okay, we're on the first 5 choppers. Okay, and I was a machine gunner.
And you were recon.
Yeah. So we had to secure the LZs every time.
Wow.
But the first day after we secured the LZ, my other machine gunner, he was killed that day. I'm going to make it short. He was killed.
Yeah.
Okay, and the very first day, I had this guy, carrying him, had his blood on me, for 3 days because we don't get changed and fatigues for like at least 3 days, And that was my first day on the first operation. I saw my first dead GI, And strange that you mentioned songs about World War II, because I lost a lot of friends, and every time I would lose one, I would go off by myself. I just lie in my hooch, sweat pouring down, and I would sing a couple of songs that meant a lot, had a feeling to it.
Yep.
You never walk alone.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
And the Battle of Davy Crockett, his song, a lot of people don't know, he wrote "Farewell to the Mountain."
Wow.
Okay, and the words, and they're in the book. I write the words so people would know.
Yeah.
And I would sing that every time. The tears would just come down my eyes, because you get so close, And there was another guy who was going to write a book. He was a medic. He was conscientious objector. His name was.
The book was always there.
Yeah, this is his book that he was writing. Yeah, and he was taking pictures all over the place, but he ends up getting killed too. And that's one after. I got all their pictures in the book, And I wanted to use the real names because I wanted them to be remembered for who they were. I didn't want some phony name of people reading that they didn't. I want them to know that these people existed, okay? And I want people to know that they existed and they remembered them, And like I got a picture of my cousin Tony.
Yeah.
And this is his picture, and this is when he was in basic training, and and we had this picture up at the funeral, at this wake.
Wow, and that's Tony there.
Yep. Okay. So and then I like to show another picture of my recon buddies.
Let me see.
This was right after we came back from an operation called Operation Billings. This was 1967.
Put the top back just a little bit more. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. And we just got back from an operation. This was where our first guy, machine gunner, was killed. Right after this is the operation.
And have we lost any of those?
Actually, not these. You don't see the one on the right?
Yeah.
We call it Terry Havens. His nickname was Funky. We just got together after 45 years. I only spoke to him on the phone though, and he told John, he says, I got cancer. And he died 2 weeks later. I never got to meet him.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and but I got a few other fellas that we get together, and I lost one very close one to me, David C. He's in the book a lot. And he just died last year, and he was suffering. I mean, we're still dying from Agent Orange, And I didn't know about this Agent Orange stuff.
Yeah, who died from Agent Orange.
Yep.
The same way, and at that time, they didn't even know for sure what it was.
Right.
And they had no name for it. And after he died, we found out that it was Agent Orange.
And that Agent Orange, I mean, I didn't even know it existed. Some of my friends said, "Yeah, it was raining down on us." And I don't remember that.
Wow.
And every one of my Vietnam buddies, and the guys in my group, Purple Heart group, and almost everyone was suffering from cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and I got another one in my group, Tex. He's in Texas. He's been in the hospital for a year, So I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah. So that's what people don't understand, that casualties, fatalities, didn't only happen on the field.
Nope.
And it didn't always happen with the loss of life. Sometimes it was the loss of heart and loss of mind.
Yeah, and not only that, you got between 22 soldiers committing suicide every day.
Yeah.
Every single day, man.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I know, we're part of the same veterans writing group.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to some of them, and, it reminds me of that book, The Things They Carried. The things that you carry from those days.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you actually in the service?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And those 2 years affected the entire rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
That one day affected the entire my life. So,
Well, John, talk to me about your book. I think do we have a copy of
I
it
have it
here?
on the bag over there.
Yeah, would you grab a copy of that book there? And there's the cover on the screen. Tell me a little bit about the cover.
Okay.
Andy, if you can just go right here. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, that's
here-
that's what I want to
Here's
show.
the book.
That's
And talk to
oh.
me. Now, this cover, you had an artist do that for you?
yes, my wife's cousin from Michigan. Yep.
Ah.
She said she'd be honored to do it, so she did it, and I think it came out great. This is my cousin visiting me in the barracks
Yeah.
the night he said goodbye.
That's the night he said goodbye. Now, that's the night you saw him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So that's you on the bed, and
Yes.
that's him coming into the room.
Right. And the thing about it, he was, like I say in the book, he wasn't ghostly looking. He wasn't transparent.
Seemed like
I
a
couldn't see
regular
through him.
soldier walking in.
Yeah, exactly. He was there in the flesh.
And then all of a sudden you realized, oh my God, this is Tony.
Yep.
And then did you know by then that he had passed?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, you
yeah.
knew. So that
This is
must
the day I found out. They flew me
pretty
in.
spooky.
Yeah. Yep. So. And
So then they came to you and they said, listen, and you had never escorted a soldier again.
No.
No. So tell me now, let's talk about the book.
Right.
So the book opens with you going to the cemetery.
Right.
Every word of it, John, is so vivid to me. I can see you walking up. Tell me a little bit about the book and the story that's in the book.
Okay. Well, it's like I said. The book opens up with me going to the cemetery and thinking back.
Yep.
And that's how it all starts out. And I actually had this book tucked away for almost 50 years.
Yeah, hard to get it out there.
Yeah.
And then what made you decide that you were going to write this book?
Okay, I'm going to tell you. I had everything written almost. Then I had to go over. But I went to a school one day, high school. I was invited there from my veteran friends. Okay, you know a couple of them.
Yep.
And they said the school wants us to go there do a montage.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And bring some pictures and tell us some. So I went. I said, sure, I'll go with you. Right. So we went there, and there's a bunch of kids there. Teenagers. High school.
Yep.
Right. So I'm standing there, and they say, all right, John, I got some pictures out there. Tell the story. I said, all right, I'll tell them the story. So I tell them a story. And it was, it's about, what we went through,
Right.
I wasn't pulling no punches, We wasn't over there playing pool, you know what I mean?
No,
Okay,
I hear you.
So after they have a recess, one of the guys walks over and he says, John, come here. So what? You got to go easy. You can't tell him that. What do you mean? What do you mean I can't tell him that? He said, no, the principal just said, no, that's no good. These kids watch videos.
Yeah, that's right.
They're blowing people's heads off.
Absolutely.
And you're going to tell me that I can't tell what Vietnam is all
You can't share
about?
the real life?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So then I said to myself, I'll tell you what, I'm going to finish. Aside from my kids and my wife, and a very good friend of mine, Rob Klein, okay, the comedian.
Yeah. Oh,
He had read. He said, John, you got to finish this book. So, but that did the icing on the cake. I
Thank
said,
God.
I got to tell these stories, and that's why the first paragraph in this book is about GIs, men and women, telling your story. I'm going to tell you what really, just the other day, actually, the day before yesterday, my oldest daughter, she's the one that's in the book, Dawn. I said, she called me up, and she said, Dad, you know something? She says, all these years, I thought I was a burden to you. And she said, but when I read this book, I realized that I made you happy. And that, it was like she just lifted off.
Yeah. Weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, and hers. So that's why I say
hurts too.
these people, these guys who went through this, and these women who go through especially combat, they got so many things to tell. And if you don't tell it, you're going to leave this world, leaving your. Just that what I just told you about my daughter should convince you people out there to tell your story. Okay, don't leave this world without telling your story. Let your kids hear this. They need to hear it. It means a lot to them. Okay, because I'm getting choked up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And keeping these stories inside is like storing garbage, trash, and after a while it begins to stink.
Right.
And it needs to be taken out of you.
Right.
And did you feel the weight off your shoulders when the book was done?
Oh yeah, I feel great. Matter of fact, that's why I said in the first thing I said, look, what you're going to read here is my story.
Yeah.
Okay, what I went through. This is true. Nothing was. I didn't falsify anything in it. Right? And there's people out there who've seen much worse than I did.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's going to be difficult for them too. You know what I mean?
Yep. And yet,
but
what
they need
you
to tell
saw
it.
was a lot more difficult than what
somebody else
people
might have seen. Right. Yeah. So.
Yep. And so it was.
I mean,
I
have friends die in my arms. Or dying in my arms before they died. But
it's a story that had to be told.
Yes.
Is it a happy ending?
Well, you got to read the book.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because other things went on in my life.
I know.
At the same time.
I've had the book for a while.
Okay.
And I was amazed because there's stories within the story.
Right.
And that's what held me to the book.
Right.
It's not a story about war. It's a story about John. And that's the big difference.
Right.
And it's a story of how you saw what had happened and what was happening now. And that's what people don't understand. That those 2 years of your life dictated a lot of all of the years that followed.
Right.
And it's the I have to say regret, and you look back and you wish it never happened, but it did.
Right.
And how you deal with it is what makes all the difference.
Another thing that was really a big deal was luckily, I came back on a medevac. Okay, so I didn't have to deal with it. Okay, but a lot, and at that time it was in '67, so it didn't really. The country wasn't. It was still favoring the war in a way.
Yeah.
Not till '69, '70 when all the
they
protests. Right.
That's right.
But my friends are telling me, when they came back, they were getting spit on. They were getting things thrown on them. They had to actually go in.
I remember it.
Yeah, they had
John,
actually
I
go
was in college at the time.
Yeah.
And there were two sides, and unfortunately, I was on the college side that said, what the hell are they doing over there? Why are we fighting somebody else's war? And they were blaming the soldiers instead of who they really should have been blaming.
Right.
And I understood it, and I had a buddy till this day is trying to get over those years.
It's tough.
I went, we had the lottery by the time I was there. I was like 198, and we got up to like 196,
Lucky.
And I was lucky.
Yeah.
And I went on to serve the country in a classroom. There's no comparison.
No, it's different.
Not easy being a teacher.
No, sure.
Certainly not easy being a soldier.
No, but like I said, they actually had to go into bed and change their clothes. That's how bad it was. Okay, so I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that. You know? But another thing is, interesting I want to bring out, when people like now finally the Vietnam vet is getting recognized, and thank you everybody for doing that, because it really makes us feel good. You have no idea what it does for the Vietnam vet, and even the Iraqi vets and Afghanistan vets. They all come to us and say, "Hey, thank you, because for what we're doing is helping them. What we went through is helping them now."
Yep.
And all those years ago, the VA hospital, them doctors they treated us like crap. Okay, plain English. Okay, and they're all dying out now and gone. Now the Vietnam generation is in there, so they know how to treat the soldiers, because they went through it.
They understand what
you know
they
what I
went
mean?
through.
Now, and then a lot of people say, why were we there? Why? We don't know. What we told us about the communists spreading and all that. But I'm going to tell you a story. The Cortland Yacht Club would put on every year a boat trip on the Hudson River. Right? And a couple of years ago, I went on this trip, thinking about your wife and family, and it was great. It must have been about 30 yachts going up the Hudson River, and people were waving on the stands and everything. And when I got back, they have like a little luncheonette, luncheon. So I happened to notice Iraqi soldier there, and he looked Vietnamese, Oriental, and he had the red one patch on. So I walked over and I said, "Look, you went the first?" He said, "Yeah, I went the first." So he gave me a picture. Now this really touched me. He said, he wrote on the picture, he said, "John, I want to thank you for freeing my mother."
Whoa.
He said, "I wouldn't be here." So I went back to my group and I told him the story. I said, "Look, all these years we thought, what the hell we were there for?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when this guy told me that, I said, "You know something? We did have a purpose there after all. We did help somehow." You know what I mean? And that meant a lot. That kid did.
John, have you come to peace with it at all?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Especially.
I mean, it's never going to be completely at peace.
No,
but at least you understand.
Then you think about it every day. There is not one day that goes by that I don't
Yep.
think about Tony, my other friends, just the war itself, But you learn to live with it. You
Yep.
do, and
You do.
and
Well,
talking about it helps.
On behalf of all those people out there, on behalf of all those people who were not in those trenches,
Oh, it's my
thank you,
pleasure.
buddy. Thank you
It's
so
all
much.
we do it again. Believe
Yep,
me, we
I
do it
hear
again.
you.
You ask
But
any
you-
one of them, we'll do it
Thank
again.
you for carrying what you carry.
Mhm.
Thank you for coming on this show
My pleasure.
and sharing it. We owe a debt of gratitude to those people who gave so much a part of their lives, not only then, but today, who carried so much weight for so long. Thank you for being part of One-on-One.
Thank you. I appreciate
John
you. I appreciate you
Fratangelo.
having me on this.
Thank you.
I really do.
Hey, go thank a vet today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the show.